I've been so impressed by how Causeway so quickly, energetically and creatively shifted its focus and moved its activities online, moving into new areas, discussing new topics, and really impressively bringing in more members from across Scotland, Northern Ireland and Ireland, increasing its gender profile, and most impressive of all, creating the Young Professionals Network, which has brought real energy, new ideas, and indeed new industries into the network. And I think they are already making a huge difference, and I look forward to seeing how much more they can strengthen the trading relationship.
Invest Northern Ireland love partnering with Causeway. Over this last year, we've run a fantastic set of events around digital construction, and everyone has been so participative and really engaged in the series of events, and it's just wonderful to see, and we hope in the coming years to broaden that out into other sectors.
Enterprise Ireland derives so much value from working with Causeway. We are unfortunate that we don't have a presence directly here in Scotland. So Causeway is like an extended arm. It's like a family, it's a friendship, it's a network. We get to know the sectors, we get to know more about what's happening in Scotland by connecting with all of the great people in Causeway, and you're welcoming to our clients.
Causeway is hugely important. It plays an absolutely pivotal role in making those connections between Scotland, Ireland and Northern Ireland, joining up business people and businesses, doing the networking, holding events like this and making sure we've got those opportunities to be able to connect and do business together.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. You're very welcome. And a special welcome as well to all of our online audience, which will be joining us after also. The format of today's event is going to be really relaxed. It's going to be a great chance to connect before the holidays happen and then raise a toast at the end, as I'm not sure if you're aware, but it is our chair David's last event as chair before he hands over the reins. So at 5 o'clock, we'll be kind of raising glass to that as well. This session is being recorded, but the breakout rooms will not be, so it's kind of just for the main bit. I'd encourage you all to use the chat function throughout, posting LinkedIn, URLs, all that kind of thing, so that we can stay connected. I'd now like to pass over to Bridget Worski, who is our chair-elect for 2022.
Thanks, Megan. And I'd like to, I'm trying to get rid of this message that's cropped up. Go. Okay, gone. It was telling me to unmute myself and I had unmuted myself. I don't know what Zoom is up to sometimes, but yeah, I'll add my welcome to Megan for those of you in the virtual room and also to those who are listening to the recording after the event. This is the last Causeway event of 2021, and we will be raising a glass at the end for to welcome the festive season and to recognise David Greenlees's huge contribution to Causeway as chair for the last number of years. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Causeway, and I'm looking at the people who are here, I think a lot of you are, but we're a not-for-profit membership organisation. We're supported by the Irish government and the Scottish government, and also we've got a range of partners who are a huge part of Causeway, including Invest NI, Enterprise Ireland, Scottish Development International, and Chambers of Commerce across Ireland and Scotland. And we're really all about connecting people across the Irish Sea and helping to promote trade and promote business across the Irish Sea. And we see ourselves as playing a pretty key role in the bilateral agreement between Scotland and Ireland, and in continuing to foster, which are already natural good linkages, but we believe that there's potential to grow and develop that further. And we do find that when people join our network, they tend to enjoy it, they tend to make connections, sometimes surprising connections. It's not always the people you think will be of most help. It can be other people. And we get lots of people who explore opportunities together, share ideas and knowledge and contacts. So if you're a member, that's great. Please invite your friends to join us. And if you're not a member, we would absolutely love to have you come and join the network. I'm going to pass back now to Megan.
Thanks so much, Bridget. And it was just to highlight as well that this event is kind of being hosted by the whole of our Young Professionals Committee. I'm just representing them this evening. So I guess part of the idea of today's event is to give a bit of a spotlight on the Professional Partners Programme, which has been running for the last year, which is where kind of the key aim of it is all about connecting young professionals in our network to experienced leaders for a two-way reverse mentoring scheme. So before I actually joined as Business Development Manager at Causeway, I was a young professional member, and so obviously got involved with the Professional Partners Programme. This led me to be paired actually with our board member, Martin McBride. I was kind of at this point at like crossroads. I graduated, I wasn't really sure exactly what I was going to do, how I was going to go, where I was going to land. And I have to say, having Martin as that kind of external mentor really helped me in a time of uncertainty. And it was him that kind of flagged the role at Causeway for me. So obviously extremely grateful for that. And I think it's really important to have business insights from fields that you might not necessarily think are the ones that you want to be in. And it's something which Martin is continuously encouraging me to do and to explore. And I mean, he's probably one of the best networkers I've ever met. So I definitely take a big leaf out of his book for that. I have to say I try my hardest to provide Martin with as much as I can in the reverse mentoring scheme as well. But he's been really fantastic, and it's a relationship I know is going to last for a long time. So I'd now like to go and on to our kind of first professional partner, our experienced business leader, which is David Gray. David Gray is the MD of AM Bid. David, thanks so much for taking the time out today. I know you've got a bit of a hectic schedule going on. David's nominated for an award this evening, so he's joining us. So very grateful for that, David, and you're welcome. So I guess, David, you've obviously been involved with the Professional Partners Scheme. You've been kind of paired with Jane Crumlish, the young professional. She's in Derry. She unfortunately couldn't be here today. But could you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to take part in the programme?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. You'll excuse my Christmas background here. I saw everybody else was doing it, so I thought I'd join in. It's just me and little Kevin there. You can see him on his own. Yeah, Professional Partners, when I saw it advertised, I thought it looked like a really good opportunity. I've always liked the idea of reverse mentoring, and I thought it'd be a really good opportunity to, I suppose, partly give a little bit back to somebody at the start of their career, but also really to learn from somebody of, yeah, I guess sadly a different generation and a different, different demographic to myself. And I found it really worthwhile in both ways. It's obviously been really rewarding to be able to pass on some kind of advice or support, guidance. But yeah, I've found the learnings that I've taken from Jane's perspective to be really beneficial, really valuable. So yeah, it's been a great program to be part of, and yeah, looking forward to continuing it.
Great, thanks, David. And I guess, what do you see as kind of been the key benefit for you? And are there any insights that you learned from Jane, which you kind of from taking part, that will help in your leadership and in your business as you go forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main learning for me has been around I suppose perspectives on recruitment. So, you know, we're a growing business. We're growing quite fast at the moment. We are experiencing a bit of a market situation where it's really a kind of employees market more than an employers. It's quite hard to find good people. So I was really interested in getting a sense from Jane of her perspective on two things primarily. One, what sort of behaviours or culture or I suppose values in a company would really make her attracted to that company, would really make her think that's the kind of company I want to work for. And on the flip side of that, what would be like an immediate turn off if she saw something about a company, a behaviour or style of culture about them and thought, no, I definitely do not want to work there. What would that thing be? So yeah, her learnings or the learnings I took from her perspective on that were particularly valuable, and I've already put some of them into practice in terms of how we're recruiting staff now. Maybe things we're doing slightly differently through onboarding, as well as recruitment and advertising.
Thanks so much, David. And it's great to hear, because I feel like everyone's kind of needs, priorities, their culture, values have changed a little bit in COVID. So it's great to hear that you've been kind of using those learnings from that recruitment perspective to kind of help out AMBID. But thanks so much for taking the time out today, David. Good luck in the awards tonight. Look forward to kind of catching up after and hearing how you get on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Megan, and thanks to David for his chairmanship this year, and best of luck moving on from that, and best of luck to Bridget as well. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of the evening. Sorry I can't stay around, but yeah, happy Christmas if I don't see you before.
Thanks so much, David. Speak to you later.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. That was fantastic. Great to kind of hear our first insight from a professional partner. And now we're going to go into speaking with another professional partnership pairing this time. So we're really fortunate to have both Geraldine and Ailish on today. I know it's absolutely crazy in the lead up to Christmas of getting everything done, so really appreciate you both taking the time out. So I guess, Ailish, I'm going to go to you first as a kind of young professional in the kind of two-way relationship here. So I know, Ailish, you first became a young professional Causeway member and took part in the professionals programme after graduating in 2020, like myself. Could you tell us a little bit more about how the Causeway Network and the Professional Partners Programme over the last year has helped you when you're at this kind of very early stage of your career?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, and hopefully will help somebody out there. So I kind of became involved with Causeway attending a number of really poignant environmental events, and they had really inspiring speakers at them, you know, people that worked in the industry I wanted to work in and that I just aspired to be like, Geraldine being one of them. And then I was kind of formally introduced to Geraldine through the Professional Partners Programme, having met her kind of, you know, in the classic Causeway networking sense. And Geraldine and I, you know, we had sort of quarterly meetings, I want to say. And she just really helped to kind of guide me through my master's, particularly my imposter syndrome, which is something that plagues me, but just sort of giving me really useful advice and insights into, you know, not only how to navigate a master's, but the environmental industry. And now I'm in my first full-time job after graduating 3 months ago, which is just going so well, and I'm absolutely loving it. So I'm working for the Wildlife Trusts and doing conservation kind of policy work. And yeah, I do honestly believe that Causeway and Geraldine, the guidance was just so valuable to me. And yeah, I feel really grateful to be in this position in this economy, especially, you know, right after graduating.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to kind of land that role, especially. I know it was really tricky kind of navigating the whole masters and then into, you know, it was a really quick transition for you to do that. So I guess now you are working in the field that I guess you've always kind of had ambitions to. How does Causeway kind of continue to support you in your career at the stage you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of similar. I mean, you know, each event you go to, I feel like I I see somebody that, or I speak to somebody that I didn't have the chance to before. And I really appreciate the diversity of events and the diversity of speakers and kind of topics that we cover. And I do like that, you know, there does always tend to be that vein of kind of the climate crisis that runs through a lot of our work, which is something that means a lot to me, if you can't tell. So yeah, it's just kind of keeping those kind of conversations going and continuing to learn. That's something I'm really passionate about, and I am somebody that feels quite, you know, motivated and inspired by kind of other people's energy, which is something that Causeway I think is really good for. And just being able to exchange knowledge with people, you know, and it does go both ways, which is nice now that I feel like I can sort of give and take in that sense. And yeah, it's just kind of that continued learning and growing that I think Causeway is really great for.
Great. It's so good to feel kind of hear how supported that you felt throughout that. So thanks so much for sharing that, Eilish. And Geraldine, I guess kind of on to you as a senior kind of business leader, you're director of environment at Mabbit. We're aware Mabbit have a mentoring kind of program as part of your community engagement. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, as well as your involvement with the Causeway Professional Partners program?
So it's always a bit of a surprise, isn't it, when somebody actually says, oh yeah, we really look up to you as a mentor, and you just think, I'm just working in this sector for like, 20 odd years, and you're thinking, gosh, but I think every single day is a school day, and it doesn't matter what position you are or where you are in an organisation, there's so much people can contribute, and especially in the kind of sector that myself and Eilish are working in, it's like it's environment, it's sustainability, and you tend to find people who are extremely passionate about what they're doing, as well as like trying to grapple the way through the different skills that you need to develop. And those skills can be things like we talked about in some of the sessions. We talked about things like presenting skills, and like I'm not nervous, I'm excited. We're sort of talking about this and those sorts of skills, which is so important to be able to empower. And as part of the mentoring that we do at Mabbit, we do reach out to Strathclyde University, so Scotland universities. My colleague Rob Duncan in Northern Ireland in the Belfast office, he's been reaching out, and we've got a student starting with us from QUB, so it's Queen's University Belfast, in January as well on placements. But we also offer placements from Bright Green Business, which is another great business network. People are looking for kind of like student placements, etc. And we also have a Women in STEM group, which is actually women and diversity is pretty appalling in kind of engineering in particular. I'm not an engineer, but a lot of my colleagues are, and we do a lot of work within the STEM, so science, technology, engineering and maths sort of areas. So we do have a Women in STEM group, and we do industrial cadets, which is for school children. So we do kind of like some of the kind of helping lead projects with the kids. So they're coming up with all sorts of different things. One of the projects last year was really interesting. They redesigned Glasgow tenements to have like actual kind of gardens down the side of them to sort of alleviate flooding, but also kind of improve air quality, etc. So it was really interesting. It's like something which people had mooted before, but they actually pulled it together and they build a model and this kind of thing. So it's great. And we actually offer judging time, and it's important that the children as well are actually seeing the role models.
Yeah.
So it's role models of like who and what they're talking about. So the who is important because we're really trying to make sure there's females and also diversity, like in front of us. It's not always, I mean, I'm quite diverse because I'm from Yorkshire. Not really, but it's but having sort of that diversity, and we've got engineers from Cyprus, for example, from Spain, and so it's important to see diversity in that as well. And it's just to encourage all of the early career professionals, and before that for people making decisions, like the children making decisions about which subjects they're going to take, because that's so important for our sustainable future. And people like Eilish, sorry, I keep calling you Eilish. I will get it right eventually. But Eilish, who's actually kind of embarking on this career. And for me, like the other side of that, Megan, is actually you get to listen in, a bit like David was saying, but you get to listen in to kind of where you were at, and you sort of remember where you were at a few decades ago, and you're thinking, yeah, those are the questions, and how can we help to enable and overcome some of these barriers? And that's great to be part of that journey as well, because other people have done it for you, I'm sure, through your own kind of careers. Absolutely. And we try to do it and pass it back. I always say, you pass it on, don't you? It's you try and pass on some of the expertise.
No, that's fantastic. And I guess hearing the breadth of the young professionals that you are supporting right from that school age, you're right, it's so important. And I know we're kind of looking at in the future how we can support as many young professionals as we can into that world of work, and it's so great to have the kind of professional business leaders join us in that journey as well. So obviously we've kind of spoken a little bit about the two-way reverse aspect of it. So were there any interesting insights or learning that you received from Ailish as a young professional?
So I think technically it was quite interesting because Ailish is kind of involved in projects in India. So I've learned a lot about the projects in India. So it's like, it's always this, I mean, the environment sector is just so broad. I mean, there's always such interesting things going on. It's impossible to stay on top of everything. So to have somebody who's really kind of been deep diving into a particular topic, to be able to talk to them about, well, what's involved in that and how did you get involved in it? And, you know, how are you going to, you know, make sure that something is impactful like from it. So Ailish has been fantastic about, just so well informed and so passionate about your project that you're doing. So that's been really good. And also the actual practicalities, because Ailish was going back to uni and doing a master's. So it's like, what's that experience like for her as an individual? Because there's so many students who are in the same boat. And you know, Ailish hasn't applied for a job with Mabbit. She'd be welcome to at some point in the future, but there'll be others who are. And it's important that we as employers as well, and anybody on the call as an employer, understands the challenges that the students have had, like going through the, you know, that uni experience in a very different way. And I think that it's perhaps restricted some opportunities for them. So it's like open up doors, allow people, you know, give people opportunities to talk and to kind of listen and to just to learn from others in the way that you kind of naturally would if you were all in the room together. But to, you know, we've got to make a bit more effort, I think, to do that. So for me, it's been really beneficial, like learning what that experience has been like and some of the kind of real kind of practical, down to earth kind of, this is technically what's going on, because Ailish is now working in peat, so in peatlands, so that's another kind of area that Mabbit we've got a bit of a side kind of entry into that, so I'm sure we will be in touch as well. So Ailish is now part of our network, so that's a good thing for us too.
I'm looking forward to that conversation happening.
I know, it's great to hear how the kind of relationship has changed so much when I guess you first got partnered with Ailish. So thank you so much for sharing in that journey. And I know Bridget highlighted there that you graduated yesterday, so big congratulations
thank you.
for that also. And sorry, were you saying something there,
Joe? I just wanted to say, well, because just to encourage anybody who's on the call to be a partner, and you know, to put yourself forward to be a professional partner. Myself and Ailish, it's the first time I've kind of done something with an official tag like that. But myself and Ailish, I mean, you're speaking as peers to each other. I mean, Ailish said, "Oh, I look up to Geraldine, she's the director," and it's like, well, I was you know, 20 years ago. So it's, you know, there's, you know, it's not so detached. But I would say, you know, we did keep checking in with each other. I was saying, is this useful to you? Because I'm not sure what's particularly useful, what isn't. But that was a really good open conversation and enabled both of us, I think, to sort of be thinking, yeah, we're not wasting our time here. This is actually really useful for both of us. So I just encourage others to get involved as well. Thanks very much, Megan.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much, Geraldine and Ailish. And I know you both have to shoot off, but really appreciate you taking out the time. Good luck with everything in the lead up to the festive period. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas as well, yes. And I guess another thing I was just going to highlight that Geraldine was talking about there is that kind of the peer bit as well about young professionals. And I know it's been a really tough start to a lot of young people's careers, and I think it's been a really nice supportive group within the young professionals ourselves also. So you'll be delighted to know we're going into our first breakout session. So Aoife, I don't know how we're getting on with that, but just I'll let you know the kind of topic of discussion that we're recommending for this. So I guess obviously first we'd like a little introduction, who you are, what you do, that kind of thing, where you're dialing in from today. And then also our kind of question to you is, what are the key benefits of being part of business networks like Causeway? So Aoife, I don't know, are you ready to head into our first networking session?
Yeah, I'll open the breakout rooms now.
Perfect. Thank you, thank you. Oh, David, nice to see you.
And you. Jeez, yes, there's Christmas spirit already.
Bridget thought that this was not a virtual background. She's like, where are you? This is amazing.
It did take me a while to realise that people probably didn't live in the places they were sitting behind, and that I'd forgotten that the backgrounds were a thing.
It's not until you see like someone else walk in and you lose the illusion of the background for a second. You're thinking, what? Hi, everyone. Welcome back. That's everyone back in the main session. So I hope that was a nice chance to have a chat. We were kind of on to Christmas parties and everything like that, or lack of Christmas parties, I should say. But I guess we are going to move back to a little further spotlight on our professional partners. So we're now going to move over to Finn. So Finn, thanks so much for joining us today. Obviously you've been involved in the professional partner scheme as well. So I guess when you joined the Causeway Network as a trainee solicitor in the early stages of your law career with CMS, can you tell us what you've got out of being a part of the network?
Yeah, of course. And hello, everyone that I've not yet spoken to. Yeah, so Megan, as you said, I joined as a trainee solicitor, and when I joined, in truth, I wasn't quite sure what I was joining, but it sounded like good fun. And I've found Causeway just to be an utterly fantastic network. For someone in the early stages of their career, I think it presents the opportunity to develop a professional network that you wouldn't otherwise get the chance to develop, and you will meet people that you wouldn't otherwise meet. And at the time a trainee solicitor, now as a qualified solicitor, a lot of the people I talk to are lawyers. Lawyers are great, but there are a lot of lawyers. And Causeway has just been a fantastic experience to talk to people from all kinds of sectors, from right across Scotland, right across the island of Ireland, and to really broaden my engagement with what's going on, with what people are doing, what people need, and to really start to understand how I can fit into a broader network and a broader culture, really.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks so much, Finn. And you're right about the cultural element. It's not really something I think people have touched upon just yet, but I know I'm half Irish, half Scottish. It fits the brief pretty well. Finn, I know you've got a lot of Irish roots as well, and it's lovely to be a part of, where you can, everyone understands the lingo and everything.
I'd agree totally. Sorry if I might, Megan, I might actually touch on the culture point just further.
Please, yeah.
It really is one of the main selling points for me of Causeway, in that I think it's more than a business network. It's a business network, it's a cultural network. And I find often when I'm engaging with people from Causeway, it's not necessarily on a business level initially. There are cultural discussions. There are discussions about geography and history and culture and how people integrate with each other on those levels, which I find is a much more enjoyable way to interact with people than the classic networking. You hand someone your business card and you have a conversation over a flat glass of Prosecco or something like that I find Causeway to be much more engaging.
Thanks so much, Finn, for elaborating on that. And for anyone who missed it, Finn was playing in, he's part of the trad band as well. He was playing at our awards, so it's a fantastic kind of delve with the cultures there as well. And I guess when you've touched already about a couple of the kind of benefits and the insights, but what would you say the kind of key ones are from being involved in the professional partners program?
Well, there's no real substitute for experience, and as a young professional, experience is probably the hardest thing to develop, as it just takes time. But what the professional partners program gives, from my perspective, is just access to someone who has much more experience than you do, much more insight. And so my professional partner, as with you, Megan, was the excellent Martin McBride, who is just a font of knowledge. His knowledge and insight is just it seems never ending, and he is so generous with his time and with that insight, and that for me has been the main benefit, to be able to sit down with someone who in my case is out with my usual sphere of work, to just discuss what he does, how he does it, and have someone there to bounce ideas off and to ask questions of, that really to develop from where I am now to hopefully somewhere in which I do what I do better and better at doing these things because of that access to the knowledge and experience. And I think that, much like you may have said at the start, to call it a two-way networking, two-way mentorship program with Martin might be somewhat egotistical of me. And I think even it's been worth it for me just to have access to that kind of knowledge, which is the case with the Causeway network in general. The Causeway hive mind is quite something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks so much, Finn, for sharing that. And yeah, utterly agree on kind of all the benefits there that you highlighted. The other thing I just thought I'd mention, and we spoke about it briefly in our breakout room, but Finn is hosting our next series of Lift roundtables, leading Ireland's future together, sorry. And I took part in these along with Eamon, who's on the call as well. Bridget hosts them for us, and it's a really fantastic way to develop your leadership skills as well as other skills. We're kind of putting a call out now, so any of our members who would like to be involved with that, please do speak to Aoife, because it's been an absolutely incredible experience. And Finn, I really look forward to hearing how you get on kind of leading that.
Yeah, if I may, I just to plug that slightly further. So I took part with members of the Causeway board in the initial roundtable that we ran, and I found it just to be fantastic. It's a real chance to focus on some broad leadership skills, but really to focus on yourself, what you're good at, what you're not as good at, and where you want to develop. And I found that the roundtable scenario gave me the perspective of others on where others want to develop, while also giving me the chance to just take 45 minutes once a week to think about that, which isn't something a lot of us, I think, generally have that much time to do. So I would highly encourage anyone to sign up for it, and yeah, give any of us a shout if you want to chat about it before doing so.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's just another kind of great perk, I guess, of getting involved with Causeway. So thanks so much, Ben, for taking the time out, and great to hear kind of all about your relationship there.
Thanks,
so
Megan.
We're now going to move over to our breakout session number 2. So how are we getting on with that, Aoife?
Yeah, I'll open them now.
Fab. We're going to, Aoife will say in the chat what we're supposed to talk about. I realised I haven't mentioned that, but we'll get there.
Anyway, welcome back, everyone.
Yes, welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed our network sessions, and we're now going to move over to our kind of final guest for the evening, spotlight speaker. So Ewan Reid, who's been a part of our Professional Partners Programme. So Ewan, you're a graduate, well, soon to be graduate from University of Aberdeen, and obviously you're about to kind of start your new role as a trainee solicitor, which is really exciting. And you're obviously partnered with another Causeway member who's a partner of BTO Solicitors. Can you tell us a little bit about how this partnership's been going and how it's been beneficial to you with your kind of career ambitions?
Yeah, I found it to be really insightful and useful. So as you say, I'm partnered with Alan Eady at BTO, who has just been really excellent. So uni is one thing, but then going into a job, as we all know, is a completely different kettle of fish. So being able to get input from somebody who has done all that a wee while ago, but has gone through basically exactly the same process that I'm going through, and is able to be quite candid about what worked for them and stuff they definitely wouldn't do again, that is really useful. And also now, because they're at a senior position in their organisation, they're now able to say what they expect from their trainees. So I'll have this person who I can, consult, which will be really useful.
Thanks so much, Ian. And I guess, how has being part of the Causeway network kind of as a more general helped you in career and kind of building your business network and connections?
Yeah, so as kind of Finn touched on when he was speaking, at the stage of my career I'm at, basically my whole network prior to joining Causeway certainly was almost all lawyers, which is fine, but it's basically people that I knew at uni and then from placements at law firms. So going into Causeway and being able to network and meet people across a range of sectors, and who are all very, very keen to network and speak to you, and even at the stage I'm at, everyone takes you on and is happy to chat to you, is just great. And then also the young professional side of things, being able to hear from people at the early stages of their career, both people who are lawyers and not as well, how everyone's getting on. It's just been absolutely great, and I'm looking forward to what 2022 holds.
Super, thanks so much, Ewan. We were lucky enough to have Ewan also playing in the trad band kind of at the awards, so looking forward to collaborating in that kind of front as well in the future. So
Yeah,
thanks so much
definitely.
for your time out, Ewan.
Yeah, cheers, Megan.
So we're kind of almost about to raise a glass, have our kind of festive toast. But before we do, I was just going to give you a little taster about what 2022 is going to hold in terms of Causeway. So obviously we're really looking forward. We're in the process now of just finalising kind of all of our events and everything. So keep an eye on our website in the kind of new year about that. And it's been a kind of fantastic year for Causeway with the launch of the young professionals. And if you do know anyone that might be interested in that, it's £30 for under 30. It's a fantastic deal. And as you can see, there's so much value in the membership. So our network is kind of reliant on, you know, word of mouth and everything. It's the more people we have in, the more connections we can make. So please do spread the word about Causeway, because we do have a member refer a member scheme as well. We've got some exciting events planned for 2022. We're going to kind of continue with definitely looking at a lot of virtual events, but hopefully also getting back to some in-person ones as well. So that's going to be really exciting. We're kind of looking at doing a lot to do with renewables and kind of that industry, as has been highlighted. Obviously, quite a lot of our members are part of that. So really important to kind of engage in that space, as well as looking at fintech as another kind of sector specific. As well as that, we're obviously going to partner with all of our kind of organisations, BITA, Invest in I, Enterprise Ireland and everything. So keep updated with us, guys. I hope you have a fantastic festive period. But I'd first of all like to call to our current chair, who David Greenlees, to just say a few words, because David, obviously you're stepping down, passing the baton on to Bridget and Judith from January 2022. David, you've been involved with Causeway since the beginning. It's been an absolutely fantastic contribution. It's been a real pleasure to get to know you over the past year, kind of working for you. So thanks so much, David, and I'll pass over to you.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Try not to get emotional there. So I suppose to finish things off today, just a few words from me. And as Meg says, the last event is myself as chair of the organisation. But first, these types of I suppose, are raw networking events that we're doing today. They're really key to our kind of core focus about bringing together business people from both sides of the Irish Sea. This is about, you know, real basic networking. It's about just sharing these opportunities, growing your businesses. And to be honest, we've worked really hard this year just to continue building that strong network for you. The stronger the network, you know, the more you can benefit from these opportunities that you will uncover. So do please continue to raise awareness of the network within your own connections. You know, it's amazing the network that you have as well. So it's just that kind of spider web effect of trying to bring these people in. So try and help us to help you by creating an even stronger Causeway. As I mentioned, this is my final few days of holding the reins of Causeway. I just wanted to say what a pleasure it's been. I vividly remember sitting in the Irish Consulate in 2015, plotting out, I suppose, what eventually has become Causeway, with no real expectation or even aspiration to get to where it's ultimately come to represent across Scotland, across the island of Ireland. So a massive thanks to everyone that's helped, supported me throughout the years. Absolutely delighted to hand over the reins to Judith and Bridget, knowing we are really in good hands, moving the organisation forward into the next phase. I don't have anything specific to say. I mean, I think I've met a lot of really good friends. I've seen some phenomenal success of people making connections, making a lot of money from these connections as well, really growing the business. You know, there's some faces today. Eamon, you know, you're on. I think you were probably at our very first event as well, and you've been such a supporter throughout, you know, Causeway from the very beginning. So we've got so many long-term, really trusted members that contribute, you know, all the time to our success, and it's your success as well as our success. We are here in the main as volunteers to be members ourselves, and we just get the ability to shape you know, how we believe the organisation should move forward. So I think collectively we've done a phenomenal job. I'm kind of stepping down from the organisation, leaving it in a bit of a better way. So you know, I've got a lot of trust in Judith and Bridget for taking on these reins. It's a bit of a I suppose it's like passing the baby over, because it's something that is, you know, so close to the heart for me. So I don't really want to say much more. I think everyone knows my feelings behind Causeway and how proud I am of everyone and what it's actually achieved. So I'll stop there. I wish you all a very enjoyable and welcome break from work. A very happy Christmas to you and all your families. And I sincerely hope 2022 is just that bit more enjoyable, less challenging than the last 2 years. You know, it's been a real tough time for everyone, and I just hope we can break through this and get back to some form of normality. So I'd like, if everyone's got a drink available, I've got a vodka and Coke just ready and I see Eamon running off to his fridge to get some beers. So I would like to raise a toast if anyone has got any drinks ready. Megan, what's that you've got? Is that a slushy?
A gin and tonic, but the ice is obviously melted a good bit since I poured it, so maybe slightly watery gin and tonic.
Ah, cool. Excellent. Well, if we can all have a drink in hand, just raise a toast to a happy Christmas and a very prosperous new year to everyone. So, Slàinte mhath.
Slàinte.
Slàinte. Thanks, David. And I think passing on to Judith and Bridget to kind of say a few more words.
Thank you so much. Bridget, shall I go first? Where are you? I can't see.
Yes, please, you go first.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much indeed, David, and absolutely a big responsibility, and it's going to take Bridget and I to do it, but we're really excited about it, and we've got some big plans as to how we see the organisation going, building on the success of what's already been in place. I think it's so nice to see familiar faces here and people who've been with us on this journey, and I hope that you have huge ownership of this organisation as much as we do. We will be relying on you as members to help us achieve our goal, and our goal is for our organisation to be self-funding. So we at the moment get a small amount of funding from Scottish Government and the Irish Government. It's been reducing over the years, so we have we have a big responsibility now to make sure that we can generate the funds through sponsorship, through membership, so that we can continue. I am incredibly proud of the work that's been achieved this year. It's been a very challenging year for the organisation, but I do think we've excelled. I thought whoever managed to make it to the award ceremony, I think it was an exceptional night. I'd like to thank the members of the management team, but also very much to Aoife and Megan, who absolutely delivered such an incredible evening. So thank you so much for that. And I'll hand over to my co-chair, Bridget.
Thank you, co-chair. Get used to this, folks. Yeah, I suppose just to add to what Judith said, I'm hugely enthusiastic about Judith and I taking over as co-chairs, and also, to be honest, I'm slightly nervous about it, because as the year has progressed and we've got more and more kind of hooked into what needs to be done, Causeway's grown a lot and changed a lot over the last year, and actually there's huge potential, and we really want to realise that potential. Listening to the breakout and participating in the breakout rooms today, the biggest thing that came out of them was connections. That is the word that was used again and again and again, along with other great words like green agenda, introductions, Causeway being a platform, that kind of thing. Somebody said it's the most active membership organisation that they're involved in. And actually, even in the 2 breakout rooms that I was involved in, I saw 2 connections be made for we need to pick up afterwards about this. That's in little 15-minute chats. We need to do more of that. And I do sometimes feel that Causeway is a little bit of a hidden jewel, and people who do find us tend to really love it and find that the open, warm, what we try to make open and warm and kind of ego-free place is great for business connections. What we need to do is find more of it. So we will be looking to our members to help us to continue to grow. For me in 2022, the things I'm most excited about, we've just had our first kind of proper planning session with our events committee for 2022. And honestly, we have the most exciting program of events coming up. It's already really full. And at one of today's breakouts, we come up with an idea for another brilliant event that we can add to that. So I'm excited about what we can do with our events, and with that, how we can bring more members in, how we can get more sponsorship so that we're financially viable, because we all do this sort of love for Causeway, and it takes quite a bit. We want to grow, and you need resources to grow. You all know, you're all in businesses. I'm also excited about the young professionals. And one of my personal targets for next year is that I get invited to one of the young professionals nights out, because I was too old to go to the night out that they had. So I'm hoping they'll see I'm still a young professional at heart, and I might get invited to one of them in the future. But it's brilliant to see the young professional network taking wings and doing their own stuff and getting out there. And we're almost discovering, oh, this connection has happened and that connection has happened. And we're bringing the young professionals into the boardroom of Causeway to really help to shape and influence what we do going forward. I would like to, David very kindly did the kind of toast to Christmas and everything, but David's put a huge amount into Causeway since they sat in a room way before I got involved in 2015. He's done it for years. He's done it on a voluntary basis. I and Judith have become increasingly aware of how much time that takes. So I think Causeway owes a huge debt to David. He's going nowhere because he is remaining in the fold. But I would like to raise our glasses again, if you're okay to do that. And maybe we can go on to the gallery mode or remove the spotlights, Aoife, and we can all see each other. And David, on behalf of the members and the board of Causeway, just thank you so much for everything you've done. It's a huge amount, and a lot of it has been invisible in as roles like yours are. But you're big boots to fill, and thank you. And cheers. Here's to David.
To David.
Thank you.
Cheers, David.
Cheers, David.
Thank you.
Cheers, David.
Thank you. You calling me fat, Bridget? There.
She says you've got big feet. That's what she's saying.
It's just typically you to find something negative out of that.
And he can't take compliments. He has to sideswipe them. That's the thing. Anyway, well said, Bridget. Yeah, very much so. So everybody have a wonderful Christmas. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
have a great time all.
Yeah, and we'll see you at an event shortly in the new year.
Absolutely. And Megan, back to you for the closing comments, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess just to close, thanks so much for everyone coming today. And a huge thank you to the whole Causeway Board of Management for an incredible year and supporting myself and Aoife throughout. It's also an incredible pleasure to work with Aoife throughout the whole year. So thanks very much, everyone. Really look forward to next year. If there are any events that you would like to get involved with, we really welcome kind of getting members involved in our subcommittees for events. So please do reach out to us if there's any events that you're interested in getting involved in. And I guess all there is to say is hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, everyone.